Hey guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about like setup of your video first and like what you should be doing and all that good stuff, and then like I'll actually like start the video, and when I do that I'll say, hey, this is the beginning. Okay, first of all, like look at my background and look at what's around me, okay? You should have good lighting, okay? There shouldn't be anything inappropriate in the background. I mean, I'm dressed up right now because I just came in from work or whatever, but like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying you need to get up and like look like you're going in to teach, but like you should look presentable. Like you shouldn't look like you just got in from running or like swimming, or I've had people send me videos where it looks like they had a rough night the night before, okay? Like you need to look, okay, this looks like it's a project like you would do if we were presenting a project just like anything else. Also, like my baby's asleep. My big girls are upstairs and have the fear of death in them for coming downstairs. My dogs are put away and they're not gonna run through the screen. Also notice that I have someone else videoing for me. I have a grown-up who is doing this, who can like take direction, and I gave him instructions before we even started, okay? So there's good quality of your video. Also notice some other things. I have like stuff set up and ready to go for my project. I have like any other extra things. My guy is over here. Also, I've got these kind of set up and ready to go for the first ones where I'm not sitting and like having to count everything out as I go. That's probably one of the most like frustrating things when I'm grading these, is I sit and wait sometimes like 30, 45 seconds for people to sit and count out different things like beans and whatever, okay? So kind of be prepared, think ahead, think about what you're gonna do. Anything like extra little mats or stuff that you're gonna use, have those ready to go. I've obviously taught for a long time, so like I can teach upside down, and so that's not gonna be an issue. So like my cameraman's gonna stand there and he's gonna like be able to film me and me teaching. If you can't do that, your camera person, after you do your introduction, needs to like come around behind you. Notice that he's not switching from landscape to portrait, to where you're still in the video, but they can also see in front of you, okay? And it shouldn't be anything too terribly like funky for that to happen. So that should be good, and we should be ready to roll. So I'm gonna kind of show you, now I'm gonna like start my introduction video. Okay, so hi. My name is Carr, and this is my Math 1350 Base 10 project. I designed my Base 10s using the traditional Base 10 blocks that you can find online anywhere. I used a blue flat for my flats and a blue long for my 10s longs, and then my 1s unit. I bought these from a teacher supply store, and they were very, very expensive, like $30 for a set. So that means that if I needed to buy this for my classroom, it would cost me, for a class of 20, $600. So that's why you're doing this project. So there are my Base 10 blocks. So the first example that I'm gonna model is our problem from our notes. So 165 plus 256. So I'm gonna pull out my Base 10s. 160, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 plus 200, and there's my 200s flats, 56. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is start with my 1s units. I'm gonna line these guys up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and try to get 10 of them. 8, 10. So then I can come over, and I've got 10 1s, and I can take from over here, from my other stack, and take my 10 1s and trade him in for my new long that I'll move over to my 10s place. So this guy comes over here, and we can look how this matches back to where I've got 1 unit in my 1s place, and I have carried 1 long over. Then I move to my longs. I've got 6 longs, so I need 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4 to make 100. I can take those 10 longs, trade them in for a new 100 as well, or a new hundreds flat, and then move this guy over, just like we talked about a second ago. So there are now 2 10s left, and I've carried over 1 new flat. And then I can look over and see that I have 4 flats. Now it's nice to see this carrying for my students, but also if they don't understand carrying, they can count that they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths flats, 2 longs, and 1 unit. So that is going to be 421. So there's our addition problem. The division problem that I came up with was 705 divided by 3. So I'm going to come over, moving all these guys over the way. Out of the way, I've got, let's count these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lay all these guys out because we're going to have to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. No 10s and 5 units. So I need to figure out how many groups of 3 I can put 705 into. So I'm going to start, let me scooch this over just a little bit, with my hundreds flats. So I'm going to try to make 1 group of 3. So I got 1 group of 3. And then I see another group of 3. So I could take that. So I have 2 groups of 3 in my answer. I can't take this hundreds flat and split it into, get 3 out of that. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to trade him in for 10. And make sure there's still 10 here. Double check from my setting out earlier. So there's now 10 longs here. And I'm going to trade that in, and these 10 longs, oops, let's double check that now. See, it's not a big deal. So there we go. There's our 10 longs. And we're going to trade him in for those. And I want to do groups of 3 for the longs also. So I have 1 group of 3, 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3. Now with 1 left over, same thing. I can't put this into a group of 3, so I'm going to trade him in for 10 units. Let me double check this. And there are my 10 units that I trade my long in for, and I pull this guy over, these guys over to the unit spot. So now I have 15 units, and I'm going to put these guys into a groups of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now to come back and get my answer, my quotient, I have 2 groups of 3 in my hundredths place, 3 groups of 3 in my tens place, 4, 5, and 5 groups of 3 in my units. So my answer, that 705 divided by 3 will be 235. So that is my base 10 block project. I hope you enjoyed it and have a great day. Don't stop, babe. Okay, so that's basically how, something like how I want you to do this. Okay guys, I use traditional 10s blocks. I should have started with this because it was just something easy and not something where I would be stealing anybody's ideas. Okay, so yes, these are a personal set of these is $30, so it's $600 for a classroom of 20. So that's the big reason why, kind of hear my girls upstairs, that's why you shouldn't have your kids here. That's kind of part of the reason why we're doing this project, so you have something that not only you could use in your classroom, but also your kids could have at home. So hope this is helpful and kind of something to model with. Notice also as I did this, I did the hundreds, tens, and ones like you would read it. Come behind, babe. If I was doing this like where I'm teaching where my person's behind me, make sure you're doing it just the opposite. Hundreds, tens, and ones. So it's not, it makes sense as you're looking at it and as you would be teaching it. Okay, so little things that have shown up. I hope that helps. It kind of clarifies some things. You have an example. We lead by example. So y'all have a great day. Bye.